Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new around here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, Indiana, I am pregnant and being investigated by DCS. In Hamilton County, Indiana. Hello, I am 29 years old, happily married, and my husband and I are college educated, have respectable, stable jobs, own a home in a nice neighborhood. We are basically as prepared as anyone can be to start a family. I am almost 9 months pregnant with our first child. The problem is that 11 years ago, when my husband was a freshman in college, he was arrested for possession of drugs. It was a large enough amount that he was charged with a Class D felony. Our jurisdiction is very harsh regarding MJ, but not intent to deal. He pled guilty and did his time and probation without a problem, passing every drug test along the way. He has not touched MJ or any other illegal substance since, and we rarely even drink and haven't at all in over a year. I have no criminal record and have never done drugs myself. It was a stupid mistake he made as a foolish 18-year-old, and he has worked hard to put it behind him. Someone has apparently contacted CPS in our area and informed them that we are drug users. This accusation is being taken very seriously because of my husband's record. We have been as cooperative as could be with our caseworker. We have been interviewed, our home has been examined, and she found nothing remotely suspicious or incriminating. We have both taken drug tests and passed. Our caseworker says that everything looks just fine so far. Unfortunately, she also says that there is still the possibility that our child could be taken from us in the labor and delivery ward, and that we won't be allowed to take her home. I was devastated and horrified to hear that. When I asked why, she said it was not up to her, and we will have to wait and see, which made absolutely no sense to me. What gives? I feel like there's something she's not telling me, but I have no experience with DCS and I'm not aware of anything we could have possibly done wrong. I know they will have to test my daughter for drugs once she is born, but she has not been exposed to drugs. Nothing more than prenatal vitamins, not even Tylenol, and I already proved that by passing a drug test. I am scared and confused. Do I need a lawyer? I had anticipated spending our savings on our new daughter/parental leave, but I will use that money for a lawyer if I have to. Thanks for reading, and thanks in advance for your help. And a user in the comments pointed out, I am a former Indiana CPS investigator/assessor. Something here is not making any sense at all unless the law has changed greatly in the last few years when I left the department. As of this moment, you are pregnant, correct? You don't have any children? They are investigating the fetus? And another person said, former CPS worker here too, agree with you, the CPS does not investigate pregnant women with no current children, something is not right. And the next one is an update to the DCS story. Here's my original post. When I made it, I was advised to get a lawyer right away. I was also advised that Indiana's DCS does not investigate pregnant women who don't already have kids and that the woman claiming to be a social worker might be an imposter. I contacted and met with a lawyer and explained the situation to him. He seemed to agree that something was very fishy. To make a long story short, the woman handling our case has no affiliation with DCS. I am in complete shock. We went straight to the police. They are taking this very seriously. I cannot give a lot of details because it is an ongoing investigation, but she seems to have been a very skilled/well-researched liar. I never would have known anything was amiss without the advice of this subreddit and the intervention of my attorney. I feel like a complete idiot, but the instinct to cooperate unquestioningly when faced with an intimidating authority figure is very strong. I have not had the baby yet. We are staying at a trusted family member's home until the baby is born. My OB and the hospital we will be delivering at have already been informed of the situation and will be taking the appropriate security measures. I am still freaking out, but we are taking every precaution for the safety of my child and hopefully everything will turn out okay. Thanks again everybody, truly. And I gotta say guys, I don't really understand what would the scammer in this situation really gain. What do you gain from impersonating CPS? In addition, I'm kind of curious, how did the impersonator actually find out about the criminal past of the OP's husband? But I suppose certain criminal records are public in the US, so I guess that's why. But please, if you know more, feel free to let us know in the comments. I write a pseudonymous blog, someone posed as me and got a book deal. I've been ordered to hand over my website. For the last 3 years, I've written a parenting blog under a pseudonym. It started out small, but over time I've developed a decent sized audience. It is not huge, but it is respectable. I write entirely about my family and my life. A completely surreal thing happened this week, and it is escalated to the point that I know I need to contact an attorney. But it is a long weekend and I cannot seem to get in touch with anyone. I am hoping to get some advice here in the interim. Earlier in the week I started receiving a couple emails from readers congratulating me on my book deal. This came as news to me because I've never tried to get a book deal. I asked the readers where they heard this and they pointed me towards a couple news releases that ultimately led back to a small publishing outfit. According to the publisher, my pseudonym will be writing a book on parenting, life and other topics. Also, according to the publisher, my blog would be moving to a new site to better integrate with the book. It reeked of rebranding. I immediately contacted the publisher and basically said, what the hell? Within a day I received a cease and desist email from a law firm on behalf of the publisher. From the letter and a few follow-up emails, this is what I have pieced together. Some deranged person decided to claim that they were the one who wrote under my pseudonym. This person contacted the publisher and worked out a book deal. This person told the publisher that I was a paid ghostwriter who occasionally helped with posts and managed the website. This person warned the publisher that I had become disgruntled because I was supposedly informed that I would be let go in a few weeks once the book deal went through. The publisher was warned that I might try to retaliate. The publisher was told that when I learned the book deal was final, I locked the real author out of her own website and that I was now holding it hostage. I was warned that I had to immediately turn access of the blog over to the publisher or risk further legal and civil penalties. I've been warned that any further posts made under the pseudonym will compound the damages because the pseudonym now belongs to the publisher and I was fired by the real author. I am baffled and scared. What is uniquely worrisome is that the firm somehow knows my real name. The cease and desist is addressed to me. I have no idea how they obtained that information. Because of the threats, I've decided to go radio silent on my blog. I usually post once a day, but I have not posted anything since Wednesday night. In the meantime, the new blog has posts. It is weird and creepy and just plain scary because they are posts where someone is pretending to be me. I have seen my traffic take a nosedive as it appears many of my readers have found out the new blog over the last few days. I am hoping to reach a lawyer on Tuesday, but in the meantime, what can I do? Beyond the bizarre happenings with the blog, I am beginning to be nervous about my own safety. I am in Virginia. And a user in the comments said, if you were a paid ghostwriter, then that would have been documents on both sides attesting to this, like a contract and tax documents, but the fraud's lack of such documents should help you. And another person said, I mean, it could be somewhat of an informal deal, especially if there's not a whole ton of work going into it. And another person said, there still has to be transactional records somewhere. A PayPal account or a check, proof of this would substantiate their claims, but they would not be able to produce any. You know guys, actually one of the reasons why I enjoy these Reddit stories so much, even though most of them are real, in the past, like maybe 5 to 10 years ago when I was younger, I really enjoyed writing fictional stories in my free time. And honestly, some of the really good Reddit stories just give you motivation to start writing again. But unfortunately, with my real job and also YouTube combined, it is a lot to do and I don't really have the time to do something else, unfortunately. And by the way guys, if you have watched until here, I would be super happy if you could post some star emojis in the comments to show your support. Thank you very much in advance. Update to the blog post story. Thank you for all the advice to my last post. I especially appreciate the supportive private messages I received from IT experts and fellow mommy bloggers. As for the update, unfortunately this problem has become too complicated for me to fight and I have chosen to walk away. I know this does not make much sense at first, but there are many personal considerations that have gone into the decision. In the comments to my last post, I alluded to being worried about the financial security of my family. What I did not mention is that much of this fear comes from the fact that my mother-in-law was recently diagnosed with a serious, though hopefully treatable, disease. My family and the families of my in-laws are helping her through this difficult period. But the difficulties are more than financial. This has been a very emotionally trying time for my husband and my children. Prior to this legal problem, my husband and I had discussions about me reducing my blogging or stepping back entirely for a stretch. The amount of time it took to write for my blog is honestly time that I need to put towards supporting my family right now. So, one consideration in my decision to not pursue a legal fight was the money and, more importantly, the time it would take. Although my husband and I figured the money would work itself out, especially if our case was as strong as everyone here said it was. But the real reason I decided not to fight the publisher is this. I wrote things on my blog about my in-laws, including my mother-in-law, under the assumption that I was writing anonymously. I was never mean, but I did state some difficult truths about their behavior and unintentional emotional manipulation. We came to the conclusion that any effort to fight the publisher carried with it too great a risk that I would be outed publicly as the author of the blog. Given that emotions are running high now that we are all caring for my mother-in-law, it would be devastating if my in-laws became aware of my writing. This concern settled the issue for us. The publisher filed a DMCA complaint against my blog. Thanks to the advice of everyone here, I made a backup of all my writing for myself. Strangely enough, a very poorly formatted archive of old posts also appeared on the new blog run by the imposter and the publisher. It looks like they just used copy and paste, and I sent an email to the lawyer saying that while I was not conceding ownership of the blog or of my posts, I would not be fighting them at this time. They want me to sign some papers, but I have told them that I will not do that. They seem to have backed off. Honestly, I am heartbroken to lose my blog, but I would be more heartbroken if it became something that would create a rupture in my family as we try to support my mother-in-law. Thank you again to everyone. Hopefully somewhere down the road I can begin writing anew. And guys, just imagine writing stories or a blog for years and then getting a DMCA complaint against your own work. Pretty incredible if you ask me, but it sort of reminds me on YouTube because, and I'm sure you're not aware of this, a lot of old songs, let's say from people like Beethoven, who obviously died a very long time ago, are now getting claimed by random companies on YouTube who are making money with this. So essentially, if you are doing a cover of a Beethoven song which obviously has no copyright anymore, you could get your video claimed by this random company who then takes your revenue. And the last one is titled, New York client objects to having consultant service dog on site while carrying out contract. I run a consultancy that, among other things, delivers specialized training workshops at client sites. We have 17 full and part-time employees, mainly in management, sales and administrative functions, plus a network of independent contractors we engage as needed. One of my instructors, a 1099 employee, and by the way I'm not exactly sure what it means, recently concluded the first of a series of workshops sold to one of my largest regular customers. It is his first time working at this site, but he has worked with my company many times over the last few years. His performance has always been excellent. While he was delivering training, it became clear that one of the employees attending the session was allergic to the instructor's seizure dog. He was coughing and sneezing uncontrollably for the first hour. Left for around 30 minutes to take allergy medication and returned to the workshop. Whatever he took only helped slightly, and he wound up leaving for the remainder of the day-long class before lunch. The client contacted me that afternoon to explain the problem while the instructor remained on site working with the rest of the attendees. I offered to make arrangements for the allergic employee to attend the remainder of the sessions remotely via online meeting software in exchange for a significant discount on that employee's share of the overall fee. They declined for valid reasons. The training involves a lot of physical, hands-on exercises that cannot be fully replicated in a virtual environment. These are a very important component of the workshop. The client suggested they would be amenable to rescheduling the contracted date so we can provide a different instructor, and I told them I would look into this option. The problem is that I also have a contract with the current instructor for the remaining sessions, which cost my company a significant amount of money. There is no early termination provision written into the instructor's contract. In the past, the same instructor has been willing to negotiate with me to terminate contracts for less than their total value when clients have cancelled on us or circumstances beyond our control prevent us from delivering services. However, the instructor is aware of the attendee's allergy, so I am concerned about asking to terminate the contract when the reason obviously involves his service dog. Are 1099 employees/contractors treated the same way as regular W-2 employees when it comes to disabilities and service animals? If the presence of the animal renders it impossible for the employee to fulfill their contracted duties, what does that mean for the employer? As for the client, my contract with them does include penalties for early termination, and it does not mention anything related to service animals or allergies. There is no provision that allows them to swap to a different instructor than the one we provide. Notably, we collected attendee feedback after the first session, like we do after every workshop, and the instructor received glowing reviews from the employees who stayed the full day. For the sake of future sales, I would like to find a better solution than demanding they either accept the remaining sessions with this instructor or pay a penalty to cancel, and for the sake of my business, I would rather not eat all the costs related to cancelling the rest of the workshops. However, if that's not possible, do they have the right to terminate the contract without penalties based on the employee's allergy to the instructor's service animal? I appreciate any insight you can give me. This is beyond the scope of the attorney I work with to handle general matters related to my business, and they are working on finding me someone who specializes in these issues for a consultation. However, that's going to take at least a few more days, and I would really like to get an idea of what I have gotten into here. Edit, something I just thought of now: if we are unable to remedy this situation to the client's satisfaction, or God forbid we lose the opportunity to do business with them in the future, it is not just a blow to my company. We have commission-based account managers. The one who handles this account stands to lose something like 40% of his annual earnings, an estimate of future commission for not yet booked business based on previous years, if this client severs its relationship with our company permanently. I have been dealing with this specific issue directly because of the potential legal implications. My employee still manages the relationship with the firm otherwise. Edit number 2, to respond to some frequent questions/suggestions I am getting. The client has not categorically banned the service animal from their site, however, they are demanding in-person training for the allergic trainee without the dog present. These training workshops are customized on a client-by-client basis and only delivered on site to private groups. So there are no comparable classes with different instructors we can place the allergic employee in. Dog is immaculately groomed and shampooed, and instructor already uses anti-allergen hygiene products on him. Remote training via online meeting with webcam has been suggested to the client, and they declined. The nature of the client-owned equipment used during this training does not allow for a duplicate setup in a separate room so that the allergic student can do the same hands-on practice. The amount I am contractually obligated to pay the current instructor is approximately 70% of the revenue from this sale, so it is not a small loss if I have to eat that cost. The client contract termination penalties are set according to our non-refundable costs for services yet to be delivered. If they cancel and pay the penalty, it will cover my losses. Going forward, asking clients whose employees have dog allergies to opt out of future business with this instructor is not optimal because he's one of our best trainers and the dog does not appear to trigger reactions in people with mild or moderate allergies. Dog has been going to client sites for years, and this is the first time we have encountered an allergic reaction severe enough that the attendee could not stay in class. There's also the issue of customers claiming allergies when in reality they just prefer to not have a dog around. We do, however, alert clients that a service dog may be present before closing the sale and finalizing our contract with the instructor. If they take the initiative to check for allergies and inform us in advance, we will accommodate by finding a different instructor. And a user in the comments mentioned, Larry Alexander versus Avera St. Luke's Hospital, the United States Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit recently ruled that independent contractors are not protected by the Americans with Disabilities Act ADA, the Age Discrimination in Employment Act ADEA, and the Family and Medical Leave Act FMLA. Instead, these statutes protect only employees. Now, if he was your employee but providing a contract service to a third party, they could refuse to allow him to bring the dog, but you would be responsible for reasonable accommodation. However, the client will not allow the dog period, makes reasonable accommodations other than serve a different client pretty hard. And you know guys, I gotta confess, as you might know, I'm pretty afraid of especially larger dogs, and in the past when I was a kid and did not really want to go to a friend or a birthday party or something, and those people had a dog, I usually said that I am allergic to dogs and I cannot come. Obviously that is BS, I am not allergic to dogs, I'm just afraid of them. And the next one is an update to the service dog story. We have for the most part resolved this issue, thank you to everyone who gave me feedback and suggestions on the original post. It was a logistical nightmare that involved modifying contracts with 4 different trainers, but we are providing an alternative instructor for the allergic employees workshop by arranging for some of our contractors to swap classes. We have also scheduled a private makeup session with the replacement instructor so the allergic student can catch up on the first day's work. The client has agreed that in the future they will do their best to alert us prior to the no penalty cancellation deadline if an attendee has a dog allergy. This allows us to change instructors without having to pay the first one, since we have them same no penalty cancellation deadline with them as clients do with us. However, since attendees are occasionally added or substituted after this point, that's not a guarantee that this will never happen again. The resolution cuts our profit on the sale to approximately 0, but at least we are not losing money or the client. The account manager is not thrilled about the fact that he lost a commission, and since I took responsibility for discussing the service dog with the client, I will be temporarily increasing the percentage of the profit he receives on future sales to this account until he is made whole. He was granted some of this in the form of an advance to be paid out when his commission on the sale would have been. I don't believe I was obligated to do this, but this has a cannot make my rent kind of impact on his earnings, since AMs average around 1 to 2 large sales per month. We don't pitch an off-the-shelf product, so the sales cycle is very long. I don't want a disgruntled and stressed out employee to be the face of the business for several important customers, so the fire has been put out. And nobody is going to sue me. I am still working with an attorney on how to proactively address this in the future. We are going to outline in our sales contracts what the available remedies are for clients who object to a service animal after the cancellation deadline. We will also indicate that while we are open to alternative solutions, we cannot guarantee any other forms of accommodation unless notified prior to the deadline. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.